Welcome back to Veggie Revolution Android app. In this second video, we will show you how to add your own recipe to your database and create your own shopping list. So let's go directly to the app. It is installed here on the system, as you know. So I will bring it up. And the first thing I want to do here is to have a look at choose your own recipe and list. You'll notice that there's already a recipe in there. These are the recipe that were selected from Veggie Revolution website. When we select a recipe, we download a copy of the ingredient and make it a local recipe on your local database. That way you can go and modify that recipe. You may change the quantity, you want it more salt, less salt, or you may want to put your own brand for some of the product we have on the website. And of course you can create your own recipe. Now there is a list, there's also a list we always create called regular. The intent there is to have those ingredients you buy all of the time. So if I look at it, you'd see that it's currently an empty list. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to go add that recipe. And I'm going to select regular. And I'm going to say add to the selected recipe. And I'm going to go down to the product name and I'm going to add orange juice. You can see here that orange juice is already pre-filled because in the previous video we typed the name when we enter the data, we enter ingredient by name. So we will look at all of the ingredients in the database. It's one of the reasons why it's important to use proper names so we can properly fill the data. So I also add grapefruit juice. Now, if you remember, I think in the previous video at one point I misspelled it. I will use the misspelled version of it. So later I'll show you how to correct it. And I'm going to also add peanut because we like to feed the wildlife. Actually, I'm going to add a quantity to peanut. Now so I have peanuts, I have a quantity of 3, and save, oops. Now you notice I put it twice and I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to go to HZ product for a recipe. I'm going to use the keyword delete here. Oops. Delete. And I'm going to hit peanut. And now peanut, if I go out and I look at it again, let's go back to add because we want to add some. You see that peanut. Now it was there twice, it's deleting by name, so I want to put it back only once. Peanuts, and I want to put a quantity of 3 and save. So now if I go out and I choose your recipe and I look at regular, I have orange juice, grapefruit. Now I want to correct grapefruit, so I'll go back to Is That Your Own Recipe. I'm going to select regular and go into Is That Product, and I'm going to put the correct name, grapefruit juice, and I'm going to click on the misspelled one, and it has now been corrected. So basically this shows you how you can add and you can correct list, and you may want to do that for some of the recipe. Like if I go to for example, okay, if I want to change one of the recipe from Veggie Revolution chili, and I want to exit the product because it says margarine here, and we use a name margarine called Earth Balance. So Earth Balance, and now I click on merger. Well, I click on margarine, so herd balance has been changed now. So this does it only for that one recipe. If I was in the grocery list and I had herd balance and I said rename, it would rename it, or rename margarine to herd balance. It will rename it in every recipe that you've downloaded that are in your local database. It won't do the one in the database you haven't selected yet, of course, from the website. But now the next thing I want to show you here, we've added to list and the recipe. I want to add a brand new list. I want to go to add selected recipe, and I'm going to create a new list. Let's say I'm going to call it camping. And I'm going to put in camping stove fuel. For a Coleman stove. So you can see here I'm creating a list now that has nothing to do with recipes. They're just grocery lists. So again, oops, I probably want to change that and save. Now, so now if I go back to choose your own recipe, whoops, sorry, you'll see that I have two camping because I've misspelled it. So what I'm going to do now, and I'll show you, I have a recipe that I really don't want to use. So I'll select it, and then I go delete selected recipe. Yes, I want to delete it. Now, the other reason you may want to delete a recipe is if you've downloaded a recipe from Veggie Revolution and you've modified it extensively, and then you decide, I want to go back to the original version, you just delete it, then select it again from the website, and it'll bring back a refreshed version. Whenever you look at it at the website and you select, it's not going to refresh the one in your local database because we assume that whatever change you've made there you want to keep. So we've showed you how to add your own, add to regular, create your own recipe, modified recipe, delete recipe. So that allows you basically to be quite flexible. One other thing I'd like to point in your own recipe here, we have apple pie. We had selected apple pie at one point from the website, and apple pie has a nested recipe for the pastry. So the pastry recipe got downloaded, and when I selected apple pie, it also downloaded the pastry recipe. And whenever you said I want to make an apple pie, said, well, you are going to have to make some pastry as well. So it will keep that there. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and on the next one I'll show you a few more options you can do from the grocery list menu or activity. And again, thank you very much for listening, and I hope you're using the app.